Yo, I'm back. You already know to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You see the thumbnail, so you know what the video's on. Without further ado, let's jump into the video.
Is it weird going from like we were talking about Washington earlier about how just there just wasn't a lot of national attention. There wasn't a lot of heat around the program. I mean, it wasn't on national TV very much. Just good players, but it just kind of flew under the radar. To like with Philly, like Philly for better for worse. There's always drama. There's always something, and we're in the middle of something now, but there's going to be something in 2 months. Every year he was there was something. It's like it's sort of a foregone conclusion that
Wasn't
that was
JJ
going to
here for
happen.
like
Was that
one
something
year?
you were prepared
Or was
for
it
when you
two?
started having those
I don't know.
conversations, or you just kind of figured it out when you got here?
No, I think I
Shouts
just
out to
started
JJ
get
and
a
his
feel for it.
podcast.
I mean, when you have a fan base that's so engaged and cares so much, like
Philly
media
fans
outlets
do care.
need to cater to that, right? And so if there's no story, it's like you got to stir some shit up.
Facts.
So
That's what a lot
Find
is
a
going on
it's
out
like,
here.
yeah, you got to go find. And if there isn't one to find, you got to make one. And so it's like you can't really fault. Like, who is there to fault? Like, you just it's part of the game, and Philly just does it at a very high level.
They do it at a high level, and I would say I would.
I'm gonna pause it right there just to say I'm not gonna pause it too much, but I'll pause it just to say that media presence in this situation with Ben got Ben in his feelings, in my opinion. Because from my understanding of what was said about him, supposedly from Doc or Embiid or whatever, neither one of them said anything too strenuous that would like on his like no, neither one of them said anything serious. It was nothing deep enough for the situation to be at the point we're at now.
I would take the Philly approach over the apathetic approach of just not being engaged.
Yeah.
I actually didn't realize that sports radio was still a thing in the United States until I got to Philly. I was like, oh, people still listen to sports radio.
Oh,
There was one time I was going to Chick-fil-A to get my rookie year to get the chicken for everyone on the plane.
everybody
And
remembers that video.
I'm standing in line and this woman standing behind me, and she's like, "Oh, are you Matisse?" I'm like, "Yeah, hi, nice to meet you." And she's like, "Don't listen to what they're saying on the radio." And I was like so perplexed because I'm like, "What do you mean what they're saying on the? What's happening on the radio? What is radio?" I was so confused.
When did they
I
say anything
had a
bad about
driver my
Matisse?
second year,
Like,
who would shuttle me up and down the New Jersey Turnpike, and
also he did do 2 years.
there were so many. Like I had this stretch in March where like I just did not play well. I probably my best year of my career, my second year, but like just had a stretch in March where I couldn't make a shot. And I just remember like one morning getting in the car and he starts like he's like, they were talking about you on the radio this morning.
Yo.
And as soon as like he said it, I was like, Mark, shut up, man. Like I don't want to hear anything. Like please God, no.
Yeah, that's funny as hell.
Sometimes they don't have to find a story. Sometimes the story is just there, as is the case with one of your teammates right now. I'm not going to put you in a tough spot right now. We'd probably be a little disingenuous of us not to at least ask you about Ben and sort of what he's going through right now.
Well, be disingenuous.
My only sort of question
Don't ask me nothing.
is, do you think that like the Sixers, and I'm not going to single anybody out, but do you think the Sixers could have handled the end of last postseason a little bit better? It seemed from the outside like Ben was kind of thrown under the bus.
Super. Thrown under the bus.
Yeah, I mean,
Wasn't even his
there's a
fault.
lot to be said. And to the last point you just made, he was thrown under the bus. Like, you asked me if I'd been booed or people been mad at me. Like, I made the foul that ended that lost us the last game, and I received almost no. Like, there's a little bit on Twitter, but like,
I don't know why
the
it's
Ben
lagging
hate
like
was
this.
so much louder that it like.
It had been
However, I'm going to pause it for a second. Hopefully that'll stop. Anyway, he's right. He literally did have that foul that caused us the game. You guys don't really know basketball because all y'all want is to push Ben to do something that's not Ben. The crazy part is y'all want him to shoot because y'all see he can shoot, but he's not a shooter. How many superstars do you know, mega stars, that can't shoot? Y'all won't let him be great for what he does. He brings so much more to the game. Stop being mad at him for not doing what you want him to do.
Growing though.
Yeah, but it's just like just to put like build the frame of reference. Like it was, I lost us the game, and which lost us the series, and no one really spoke about it. But
That's because y'all don't know basketball. How y'all
they
think
wanted to
y'all
talk
do?
about the passing up the dunk and passing it to me more than
One fucking
my
play.
foul.
Y'all want
And
to keep
anyway,
pushing
but
one play.
I think that both sides play a decent role in it, right? Like neither side's really
I don't know why
helped
my man don't have no
themselves
shoes
through the
on.
situation. Whether whoever started it, whoever's making it worse at this point doesn't really matter.
My
but,
young boy though.
like either side has played a pretty decent role in the situation that we find ourselves in right now. And like on a human level, as like his teammate, like as a friend, you hate to see people put in this situation that's so heavily covered by the media, because people lose sight of this human aspect of all of us as athletes, especially in these times, especially in controversial times where we're looked at as like it's a commodity. I don't even know exactly like what people consider us in these moments, but it's not as humans.
They
And,
don't
like, just
consider
on a
you like you're a
personal level,
commodity,
really-
bro. Like they don't really consider y'all as humans. They don't look at y'all like that. The people, the fans are like trade him and trade this and trade that and get a better piece or something to fit the team better. They don't look at you guys. Put my light over. They don't look at you guys as human beings anymore. Like, come on.
do feel for him, because this would suck for anybody.
Yeah, I look, I typically don't agree with like the both sides claim, but I would say like, you know, and I'm friends with Ben and I had him as a teammate and loved him as a teammate. Like he probably could do more to help himself.
Facts.
Especially ingratiate himself a little bit with certain people.
That's true, bro. You gotta put yourself in the right circle, bro. Especially with people that's gonna help you progress your game and be better. Ben, you do have to take responsibility for the things that you did. Which the only thing that you did was not give us as much offense as we needed from the team. Now, I'm not going to say you didn't shoot threes and we needed you to shoot threes. I'm not going to dwell on the one shot that you passed up, because there were many opportunities throughout the series, not just the last game. Many opportunities throughout the series that I personally feel like, man, I don't play on that level of basketball, but I play enough that you passed up opportunities where you should have been more aggressive. We needed you to score regardless of it being threes, twos, foul shots, whatever the case may be. We definitely needed more offense from you. You did your thing. I don't have the stats, but I'm pretty sure that it won't be hard to find to show that. And if y'all come at me, I'll go find them. That you drastically slowed Trae Young down. So I definitely know you definitely did what you were supposed to do on defense or what you normally do. But I agree with JJ. You got to put yourself in the right circles to help progress your game and be better because you are a pro.
But you know, I also think that it's like it's one of those things that comes with playing here and comes with being a max player.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my problem with the entire situation is that I feel like at this, I'm going to defend Ben a little bit, and I've said this on the podcast before. I feel like at times people just can't appreciate Ben for who he is as a player.
Oh my God,
we can't
bro.
appreciate Ben's greatness for Ben's greatness.
Exactly.
And that's not to say he's blameless in any of this.
Exactly.
But
like
we
I said, you
we
gotta
haven't
take the
gotten to the point
accountability.
where,
But
like, Ben is a great player. Here's what he's great at.
right.
Let's just appreciate that. We want to nitpick the things that he doesn't do that we all want him to do. And I don't think that's fair to Ben. Again, Ben's not blameless, but I don't think that's been fair to Ben.
No, that's
All right, cool. Listen, I 100% agree with that, JJ. You're right. That's kind of the point that I was alluding to. Like, you guys want something out of him just because of his stature of superstardom. You guys feel as though because he's a superstar, he's supposed to shoot. How many superstars could not shoot throughout their career? Charles Barkley? Look it up. You can look up his career three-point stats. Shaq, superstars, megastars now, couldn't shoot during their careers. Who else? Giannis, current player, currently will take the shot and will airball it and come down and take the next shot. And I respect him for that. Like, as a hooper, I do know, like, that take courage, guts, and it takes I want to say like an empty mindset. Like you can't let it bother you. And like Giannis is out there, but he still can't shoot. At least he's trying. I give him that. And who else? There's a couple other players who will never possess the ability to shoot that are superstars or that will become superstars. Like not all superstars have to shoot threes. So accept Ben for what he does and that he's great at. What
It's
you
a
got to
very-
say, Matisse?
That's your Philly thing, though. That's like a very Philly thing.
Facts.
One of my like good friends, he's like pretty active on Twitter. Nate Jones. On the
Shout out to
NBA
Nate
that's our
Jones.
guy.
Yeah, that's our
Yeah,
guy,
you
Nate.
guys know
we
Nate?
know Nate.
Yeah,
Homie.
an amazing guy. And that's one of the things that he's been consistently saying is that, like, we're overlooking the fact that just disregard like some of the things you just said, like the fact that a number one pick panned out as much as he did.
Right.
Like,
Like
That's not even the case all the time. And
so many number one
like, people lose sight of
picks
that,
were
but it's
like
to have
flops,
someone who's
flukes.
so dominant and just happens to lack a few skills that not every NBA player even has, and to be like highlighted more than his true strengths is just it really doesn't make.
Bro, Matisse couldn't have said it any better. You guys want to dwell on something that most NBA players will never possess. You want to talk about the one skills that, the smallest skills that, well, shooting isn't a small skill, but it's the one thing that 300 and something plus players in the NBA, maybe 50 of them are probably really good at it. We'll say 75. We definitely not going to say 100 or 150. We're not going to say half the league can shoot. Because that's not the case. So,
Makes sense, but that's the sports world for you.
Well, I was going to ask when we were talking about defense earlier. I mean, we've talked about this in the show with a bunch of different guys. Some of the stuff he does defensively is, on a different level than anybody else in the league. And I'm curious how much
accepting
you've
for who he is,
learned
man.
from him, just in terms of, you're coming into this and you had this skill set in college and in high school and everything like that. But you've basically been fortunate to be able to watch somebody like this who has a couple years of, advancement on you and has done this at such a high level.
Yeah, he's one of the examples of like the physical ability, right? Like his ability to just flip a switch and lock down an entire court.
An
is like
entire
nothing
court.
I've ever seen.
That's
'Cause
different.
He's 6'10" and runs like a
6'10". Now, he legit 6'10". I'm going to tell you a little story about the time I saw Ben Simmons, right? I was in a club. I'm not going to say the name of the club. I was in the VIP section, and the way that the club is set up. Now, you might know what club if you from the area, but the way the club is set up. So, the DJ booth and the dance floor in the main area and stuff like that is in front, right? So to the left of the DJ booth is a VIP section. That's where I was. To the right of the DJ booth is another VIP section. To get into any of that area, you have to come in through the right, walk behind the DJ section to get to the other VIP section, right? So now that you have the layout, I had to go to the bathroom. So I had to leave my section on the left of the DJ booth. I had to walk to the right, go down the steps, and get out, right? Long and behold, who was in the other section? Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons was standing in the other section, and I saw him as I walked out. And I was like, damn, this boy really is tall as shit. Like, I am 6'4", and I don't like to feel small. Walked out. When I came back, Ben was no longer against the wall. He was standing in the middle of the walkway through the VIP section from one to the other, right? So I walk in, and I see him standing there. Now he's standing in the middle, and he's in my way. So I tapped his back gently. Pause. I felt so little doing this. And was like, excuse me, bruh. And he turned around. And this mofo looked down on me, turned around and was like, oh, my bad, and moved over, and I walked past. And I say all that to say, that was the moment I realized he really big as shit.
gazelle. I've watched him pin Luca to the half court line. Like,
And
that's
Luka's
not-
6'8".
Luca's a big dude and he's a very skilled guard. Like, that's
Bro.
unheard of. Like, he's done things that it's like
And you guys want him to shoot.
you could never teach that to anyone. And like that's not something you could even like develop over the course of your career. Like he has the ability to do things that a lot of players will never be able to do.
All right, so that was Matisse and JJ on the Ben Simmons situation. I thought that was nice little insight on how some of his teammates view the situation. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you agree with the Sixers or if you agree with Ben Simmons. Also, drop a like on the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. With that said, until next time.